Rise and shine, my fellow Tottenham fans. It is game day, and boy, do we have a big one today. We all know what happened up there last year, 6-1, 5-0 down after 21 minutes. Well, we've got a massive game on our hands today, and they do say revenge is a dish best served cold. So hopefully we can make that happen. We'll also see how we get on today. As you can see, three of us up bright and early this morning on screens. Sometimes not the best combination, so do bear with us as we go along. But look, we'll kick it off. We'll find out how the boys are, get into the chat, see how everyone else is, find out everything you need to know on Newcastle's long injury list heading into today's game. And then we've got plenty of things to talk about. As you can see, I am joined by Jose from El Tel Cockerel, Phil Coyes as well, and I do believe Hotspur Hippie. Just a little bit late back from work, but I do think he'll be joining us as well. Jose, how are you, my man?
He's put a message in saying he's getting McDonald's on the chat. He's getting
grab me a vanilla milkshake, Paul.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you, Dave. I'm looking forward to today, like I say all the time. I look forward to every match that we play. But God, it's early this morning for me. God. But I am looking forward to what you've got for me today. And hello, Phil. Hello, Phil, as well.
Got a lot of questions, so I know you know me, question central over here on pre-match build-up. But look, it's early for all of us, so I'm not expecting mind-blowing answers and stuff like that. What I would suggest is a nice cup of tea. I've just had one, and I'll probably go and make another one in a few minutes, and I feel fantastic. But Phil, how are you, my man?
Yeah, I'm all good, Dave. All good. Thanks for having me on. It's been a long time coming, man. It's great to be back onto the show again. And I can't wait to get into the topics that we're going to discuss today, all about Tottenham.
Do you know what? It's great to have you back, my man. It's been way too long. So it's absolutely brilliant to have you back. And jealous of that jersey, I ain't gonna lie. That's what I need to get into my locker, into my collection. But great to have you back, like I say, and excited to have you on. But guys, let's get into the chat. Let's find out what people are saying, and then let's move on. Big up Terry Beats or Bets. Good to see you, Super Spurs, to get a positive result today. I really do hope so. Robbie Keane says, as long as we don't lose today, I'll take any result of it. Come on, you Spurs. We have Slim 69. If we want top four, it's a must win as it stands. Fifth place might not be good enough. Spot on. George Caradas says VDV plays, we don't lose. Simple. What's going on with Richie? Always injured. Look, personally, I don't think we're getting the full picture there. Personally, it's something we'll probably get into a bit later on. We've got Danny Darko Spurs. Good to see you. Oi, come on, you Spurs. Massive game today. Chance to prove this club is worthy of Champions League and capable of doing something in it next season. Hope we turn up today. If we do, 3-1 Spurs. Absolutely love that. Big up Ribsy from Down Under. Come on, you Spurs. We'll get the win today. Good to see you in the building. Also, Bob Down Under. Good to see you, my man. Really excited for this game tonight. The lineup in the midfield will be revealed, and we'll definitely be talking about that. Uncle Disrael says, expecting a cracker 3-2 to Spurs. Big up, my man. Rayman, always good to see you. Game day, as always, along with DJ Samuel. Morning. Come on, you Spurs. Let's burn down the castle today. Yeah, we've got to go and storm that castle today, my man. But like Troy in the wooden horse, rock it up. Be absolutely brilliant. Big up Scarecrow as well. My 5-year-old son is excited for this game. We don't often get games at decent times in Australia, so he gets to stay up and watch this one. Come on, you Spurs. Well, first of all, big up to you and your son. Hopefully you have a great day. Good day bonding over the games. I remember I used to watch games with my old lad. Very fun memories of that. So hopefully you do enjoy yourself, and hopefully we get the win. Hopefully we turn it on as well for him. But what we don't want is to discourage him, We need as many Spurs fans as we can get. Good to see you as always, Jim. Hopefully Kate's well as well. Come on, you effing Spurs. Let's smash them to bits. Guys, get your orders in for Hotspur Hippie in the chat. Do you want a Big Mac? Do you want one of McDonald's breakfast rolls? Do you want a coffee, latte, whatever it is? Get them in, and Hotspur Hippie will deliver. We've also got Jack Bloom 2024. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Wembley won. Morning, boys. Let's hope it's close than last season. Definitely. I do promise you, if we're 5-0 down after 21 minutes this time, we're turning it off. I'm not sitting there for the full 90. I cannot do it again. Big up Shamu. Good to see you as always. Stevie Fraser, morning. Let's be the Saudi cheats. Liston Hines, 7 games left, 21 points. We'll do just fine. Thank you very much. Nick Carey, good morning, Dave. Not overly confident, but hoping today is the day we get 90 minutes of good football. I think many people are at that point. Cantab says last week, Porro drew a goal and he scored. Today, Romero has drew a goal. He is overdue, Romero. It's been quite a while. Big up, Jack Bloom. Good to see you. Kerry King will take a few more and we'll crack on. Come on, you Spurs. Heart goes out to those in Sydney, though. Football is such a good distraction to all the crap going on out there. Let's do this. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the news last night or this morning, so I don't know what's going on in Sydney. But if it is bad, my thoughts and prayers go out to people. Shem Tan says, good morning to the early panel. Hey, Dave, Phil, and Jose Lo Celso game day. Hope for a very good performance today. Nothing like last season. I definitely need to avoid something like last season. And Quincy B, yes, lads, big game today. I know they have injuries, but it's not going to be easy. The counter-attack is going to be brutal. Come on, you Spurs. Spot on there. Also, big up Keith Edwards as well. Always good to see you. We also have CC Dregs. Good to see you in the building. Rhythmic Renegade. Great name, by the way, Rhythmic Renegade. That's a great name. Liam Hattie. We also have Mac Watt in the house as well. Sonny long overdue, a hat trick. I mean, that's not a bad bet for today. And Joseph, we owe them a beat, Dave, and all we have to win it today. Big up, Dave and the gang. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely spot on. I mean, pride is a thing, and I definitely want mine massaged today for sure. Now, we'll just get everybody everything they need to know, and then we'll crack on and start getting the guys more involved. Of course, we are playing at St. James's Park today. Kickoff is at 12:30. Early kickoffs do not like them. Referee is Tim Robinson. In the VAR room, it's Stuart Atwell. If you want to watch the game today, it's on TNT Sports. In the USA, it's on NBCSN. In Australia, it's on Up to Sports. And in Canada, it is on TSN. Also, our injuries, of course, Richarlison still out, Fraser, Forrester, Solomon, and Sessegnon. And as you can see here, I think Newcastle have got a whole 11 out here. Willock, Target, Livramento, Trippier, Tonali, Lascelles, Botman, Jolinton, Pope, Almiron, Wilson. Hall, it's touch and go with him. He hasn't trained all week. And then also Miley out as well. So as you can see there, a very long list of players for Newcastle out injured. It's absolutely madness. And we were bemoaning our luck earlier on in the season. So with a lot of their players out, we should really be taking all 3 points today. Also, big up Paddy Higgins as well and Spurs GCTV. Always good to see you guys. But look, guys, we'll get into it. We'll kick it off. We'll start with you, my man, Jose. First of all, the Premier League clubs have agreed to the introduction of semi-automated offside technology. If I'm correct, it'll be like the one that was used at the World Cup. The new system will be used for the first time in the Premier League next season. And what I want to know of you two guys is, do you think this technology will help the game and speed up the offside decision-making or make it more complicated like VAR has done?
Right, so for me, I'm old school, and the only technology that I ever wanted, and I think that we should see, is the goal line technology. Anything else completely slows the games up. It takes away the emotion, like we all keep saying. It also has led to loads of injuries. It's been proven it's led to loads of injuries for many, many clubs. And it just ain't funny anymore. You end up scoring a goal, the euphoria of scoring that goal, then you've got to wait 7 minutes for someone to find something that happened 52 phases ago to cancel the goal. So for me, it's just absolute crap bringing technology in. But bringing the offside, the semi-technology for offside, possibly might hurry the process up on judging an offside if you don't go back 52 phases. That is. And then in the World Cup, the Women's World Cup, when they trialled it, I think it was the Women's World Cup when they trialled it. What I found though is that even then, when they trialled it, for them to then make that decision and explain the decision, I still think took that bit longer than what it should have done. Nowhere near as long as what we've got at the moment, but still, for then the referee to come out and just get their earpiece on and say, number 7, offside. But then, if to me, if it's offside, if it buzzes to the referee's arm, a bit like goal line technology, then just give it straight away. You don't have to fuck about and mess about a bit longer. Just give it straight away and done. But no, I'm old school, I'm afraid. Goal line technology for me, and that's it. Whatever you bring in other than that just ruins football.
Interesting. I mean, Paul, or sorry, Phil, do you agree with Jose here? Are you okay with the semi-automated offside? I mean, for me, I think half the lines that have been drawn this season have been crooked anyway. I don't believe they know what a straight line is. But I'd be okay with semi-automated sort of offside because you get a more or less a definitive decision straight away. It's not like you have to wait for it to go to VAR, like Jose is saying, get 25 checks on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it needs to come into the game anyway. I think they need to do that on the on the byline as well. for like corner kicks and whatnot, because it happened in the Newcastle game, I believe.
Yeah,
when the ball
Arsenal.
went in. That was against Arsenal, wasn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I think they need to sort of bring Hawkeye in for that or something like that. But yeah, I echo what Jose said. I think well, the only thing I wanted was goal line technology. That's all I wanted. But I think it's good for the game. I think it'll speed up the process. I don't like the linesman taking forever to put his flag up, so that might help things with that. But yeah, I think it's only good for the game, in my opinion.
I do question, what do we need the line off for, though, if we do get it in? You don't need that idiot running up and down the sideline. You could probably save a bit of money there. But look, for me, I'm all right with the automated semi offside. For me, when I look at it, hopefully, like Phil says, it will speed up the process. It'll be a decision like that rather than, because I feel like the decisions are unfair at times. When it comes to Spurs, you barely get to see a replay. When it comes to another team, you're sitting there watching about 20 of them over and over and over again. So for me, if it can speed it up, because I do believe a lot more injuries are also happening with the length of our decisions, with the stop-start nature of games and stuff like that now. So hopefully this will benefit everyone.
I just don't understand why the linesman has to take forever to put his flag up when he knows it's. I mean, sometimes it's like so far offside that he should just put his flag up straight away anyway. Do you know what I mean? But I don't understand that period where they just wait too long. I don't know what that's for.
I'll tell you why. The more controversy, the more talking points, and the more money they can make off the back of it. The more people that tune in, right?
It's wrong because, a player or a defender could slide in, to a player and break his leg or anything like that, where that doesn't need to happen when he puts his flag up straight away. So, with this new technology, I think that will help with things in regard.
But where you said, Dave, that you question why we should have linesmen, I'm going to go further. I'm going to say I question why we should have bloody referees. Because the way everything's gone, you're taking everything out of the referee as well. Because you're forcing the referee to change his mind on something that he's done. With the naked eye, the referee says something, you're now forcing him to change his mind. You're forcing the referee to second guess everything he does on the pitch. At the end of the day, football, leave it as it is. You shouldn't have touched it. Goal line technology, end of story. Shouldn't have touched it at all. Leave it. Do you know what I mean? That's where I am with it.
No, I understand. Look, I'm not a big fan of technology in football, but if it can speed up the VAR process, which is driving me crazy, I suppose I'll accept it. Big up Dark Sung G as well. Come on, you Spurs, let's get a 5-0 win for Revenge, Johnson and Sun Goal. Big up Dark Sung G, good to see you in the building. Hopefully you're keeping well. I believe it's a nice early time for you today, actually, or a decent time for you to watch a game today. So hopefully you do get to enjoy it. Let me know if you know anything about Tim Robinson or Stuart Atwell today. They are the guys in the referee and the VAR. But look, for me, Dark Sun G today is all about revenge. It's about, taking our pride back is what I would say. I know some people would say it doesn't matter to the players. We got a lot of players going up there today, like Romero, Sonny, people like that, who were involved in that 6-1 humbling at Newcastle. And they will carry that pain. And for me, they got to take, right some moments today and hopefully deliver a good beating to Newcastle. It is there for us to do with the amount of injuries they have. They don't have too much room for maneuver in terms of starting lineup today, and they don't have game changers coming off the bench today, so it is there for the taking to give them a right humbling. As far as Brennan Johnson goes, look, I didn't think he was great last week against Forest. I thought his performance levels dipped from where he was the week before, so hopefully he can put in a great performance today. And Son, no goals in his last 2 games, Dark Sung G. Think he might turn up today with a couple. I don't know about you, Dark Song G, but for me, I think he seems a bit hesitant in front of goal recently. Let me know your thoughts on that. But big up, Dark Song G, my man. Really appreciate the support. Just want to welcome in Daniel Sandoval as well. We also have Alan, who's off to the pub in Glasgow to watch the game we start. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. And also, I think we've got the big man in here, Paddy Harnett. Good to see you as always. Morning, you sexy Irish effer. That's even I don't get that off my missus. So, Paddy, I think I might marry you. And Jose, today Phil and Jose, today will be hard and very hard at that. Speaking about hardness, Paddy, I don't know what's going on here. It will tell a lot about this team as the pressure is on now to get top 4. the two English teams losing midweek. No, look, for me, I think today is going to be a huge test of character, Paddy, an absolute huge test. And, you know, you walk away with this, I think it gives you real momentum heading into the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool in that week, you know, and heading in there with bad intentions. If you don't get over the line today, well, you know, it could be a long old road back, but big up, Paddy. Good to see you as always. And also Derek Hutchinson and also Felix as well. Great to see you guys. But look, Jose, let's get into talking about the game now that we've got people's thoughts on the offside rule. Of course, it's almost been 1 year since Tottenham were embarrassed at St. James's Park as Newcastle pumped us 6-1. We were 5-0 down after 21 minutes. How bad do you want to right some wrongs today?
I'm not sure whether I want to right some wrongs. To be honest, I'm not, because that's old school. That happened ages ago. It happened last season. For me, I just want the win. I want 3 points. I want us to go out and be the best version that we can be every game that's left in the season. And I want 3 points from every game, regardless of who we select in our first 11, who we select in our 20. As long as I've got 11 players from the start and 5 prepared to come off the pitch to put everything in for Tottenham Hotspur, then that's all I'm after. I'm not about righting wrongs. That's old. That's history. That's gone. We got beaten last year. History done. We smashed them at our place 4-1 already this season. And, you know, it'd be nice to get another victory today. And that's all I'm after. I'm not looking to right wrongs because it was different manager, different players, different time for me. I just want the 3 points every game from now to the end of the season. And I just want our players to turn up, play football. I've seen green shoots in the last few games, and I keep saying it every time I come on here. I see green shoots. I know I can see what we're trying to do and what we want to do. And yeah, I just want us to continue today, get that understanding. Although we have, because the thing is, apart from the first 10 games, we have chopped and changed the side throughout the rest of the season. We've never had the same 11 keep going out game after game. So I just want them to, channel everything that they've been taught on that training pitch and just go out and get the 3 points for today, and then have their rest and think about going again. I just want them to play for the badge, play for the club, play for the fans, and just go and get 3 points. I'll take a 1-0 win. I'll take a 10-0 win. 3 points. That's what I want. End of.
Fair. Look, for me, you know what? I'm like, guys, I do want revenge today. I mean, Phil, where do you sit? You know, is it about revenge for you today? Or are you with Jose? You just want the 3 points. You forget about last season.
No, I want a 6-1. I want a 6-1 today. I'm not having it. I'm still a little bit scarred from it, to be honest with you. I think we need to give them a drubbing today. They've got a lot of injuries out, as we've seen. The game at our ground, they had a lot of injuries then. So, and we comfortably won that game. So I think today there's no excuse. I think we need to give them a footballing lesson today. And yeah, I'm just looking for a good performance today. Another, you know, we haven't had many full 90-minute performances this season. I think we are due one. But yeah, I'm looking for a lot of goals today, and I'm looking for a clean sheet off the boys as well.
Do you think there's any excuse then, Phil, for us not to go full pelt today? Someone makes a great comment. No excuses. They've got a lot of injuries, and our boys have next weekend off because, of course, the Man City game has been moved. So, do you expect us to be at full throttle today to go for their next?
100%. I mean, we haven't got any injuries apart from, well, we've got our full strength team today, so there is no excuses today for a good performance. And I think Ange will rally the boys today. It's a massive 3 points that we need for top four, because Arsenal have got Villa, haven't they, this weekend? So I'm hoping for a draw for that, to be honest with you. Just to dampen Arsenal's title hopes as well. But yeah, I think it's vital we get 3 points. But I'm hoping, and I want a frapping today.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. I mean,
Yeah.
look, my pride was hurt last season after that game, and having to sit there and be embarrassed like that as well is never good. And today I do want to dish it out. Look, I mean, Jack's sort of with Jose, right? He's like, look, Dave, we got our revenge earlier on in the season. I said to Jack, it doesn't count. That's at home. Anyone can win at home. You got to go up there and deliver it, bruise their egos. So hopefully that does happen today. Dark Sun G says, under Robinson, we won. And we won one and lost two. Both were versus Wolves. So not very good omen with this referee. So I'll judge today whether it's because of his decisions or not. I remember a few against Wolves going against us that I wasn't too happy about. Looks like the Premier League are rolling out their best anti-Tottenham team. May as well stick referee in Arsenal jerseys. Big up Dark Sun G on that. What about Stuart Atwell? For some reason, I have a bad feeling about his name in the VAR room as well. And Adrian Chia says front three has been off the boil in the first half lately. Look, I'd argue, personally, I don't think the front three has looked 100% correct all season. Don't get me wrong, they've done a good job. Without Harry Kane there, they've done better than what I thought. But I do think that's the area that needs major improvement come the summer. Like, if you're talking about, last in a title race and stuff like that, you can't have players that are blowing hot and cold and turning up for moments in games. What you want is consistency throughout the game, battering the door down, a lot of creativity, a lot of movement. Someone that, if you are against low block teams, can pick up the ball and take on a bit of player. When I look at that front line, there's no, what would you call it? Je ne sais quoi, right? It's all very sort of scripted from the training ground and stuff like that. But there's no flair, there's no excitement in it and stuff like that. For me, give me a couple of players like that with that maybe unpredictability going forward in that regard. Not always having to just go down the byline and put it across. I mean, we're not robots, Football's called a beautiful game for a reason. So definitely agree with that, Adrian Chia. Good to see you in the building and really appreciate support along with Dark Sun G. And also big up DJ AK. DJ, big up, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. He's a proper DJ, he's a legend. And also big up Mark Cook as well. Great to see you in the building, sir. But guys, this very game last year had repercussions in terms of Tottenham failing to qualify for Europe. We went on a horrible slide after that, thumping up there. Do we think that today's game will have a similar impact on our Champions League ambitions? We'll start with you on this one, Phil, and we'll work our way back to Jose.
No, I don't think it will. I think we'll have enough to get over the line, regardless of this game. Anyway, obviously we've got three at the top. We've got City, Arsenal, and Liverpool still to play, but the games that we've got, after that is pretty easy games that we should win, really. And if we get them points over the line, I think we will secure top four. I think top five will be enough for anyway. Position will be enough for Champions League anyway. So I think both positions are secured for Champions League. So I don't think we have to worry in that sense. But yeah, today, like I said, I just want us to thrash Newcastle today. I'm still scarred from 6-1, and there's no excuses. So let's give them a thrashing.
I actually can't wait for this game. I'm a bit dubious on half 12 kickoffs, though. I do not like them. It sort of takes people a while to sort of get going and stuff like that. But I mean, Jose, where are you at with it? Do you feel today could have similar repercussions? Not as drastic, maybe, we'll definitely qualify for some sort of Europe, but do you think it'll have repercussions if we lose this in terms of top four, a bit similar to what it did last season, completely derailed our campaign in that regard?
No, for me, it's going to be rinse and repeat. For me,
and then come up with something different.
Yeah, for me, you end up where you end up after 38 games. League doesn't lie. Whatever you've done for 38 games is where you're going to end up. Now, there's a school of thought here from part of the fan base that says, yeah, I want to be in the Champions League, but we ain't got a squad to play in it. And then you've got other people say, it doesn't matter if we play in the Europa. Looking at the table, we won't get any worse than Europa. That's a fact. We're not going to get any worse than Europa. Because if you get the 5 spots, then we're going to be one of the 5 regardless. Because I don't think the teams behind Villa will catch up on points. They're too far, but they're like 12 points behind or whatever. So
11 points, Jose.
Okay, 11. So, but it's still 4 games. That's 4 games you got to win. So you've only got Tottenham only have to win 2 more games and Villa 2 more games to ensure that they finish above Man United. So that's pretty much done. Top 5 is pretty much done. With the coefficiency points, if we want to rely on the coefficiency points, we're slightly behind Germany. Results didn't go well during the week, but, you know, you could get through coefficiency. I would rather us just get 3 points every game. You get 3 points every game, you take care of yourself. And then you can open that can of worms up. Oh, we've qualified for the Champions League. We're going to have to build up a squad. We're going to have to get more players in, blah, blah. It might be a good thing to get Champions League because it may force the hand of the powers that be. That means that we're going to need more players and a better caliber of players if we want to compete on all fronts next season.
We've seen this before, though, Jose, where we've got into the Champions League. They haven't done that. But, you know, this time around, it might be different, you know.
Like I said, Phil, I've said before, and I'll say it again. For me, I'm neither in or out. I'm none of that stuff. But for me, I've said that the measurement for me is I will wait till the end of the transfer window, not during, but the end of the transfer window. And at the end of the transfer window, it will tell me exactly where Tottenham Hotspur are and what their thoughts are going forward. Because we could go out and sign 8 players in the first 5 weeks of the transfer window, but that doesn't make your transfer window, because the transfer window is not about your players coming in. It's also about the players that you let go as well. So there's another shake-up that needs to be done in the summer. And, you know, we've got 5 players on loan that you've got to get rid of first of all. And then that still leaves your squad of 25 players. And then you've got to trim that 25 in order to bring players in. So to me, equally, it's not just about the players we bring in, it's the players that we get out of the club as well. So and that'll tell me a lot of where we are.
Yeah, I will say, though, I mean, I think Europa League at this moment in time is sort of our level. That can change in the transfer window in the summer. If we get into the Champions League, that can change, and we could, you know, get into the knockout stages. I don't think we'll win it next year, to be honest with you. But you know, at this moment in time, I think Europa League is realistically to win. But yeah, I just want to see the Champions League nights at White Hart Lane again, to be honest with you.
I just want to be involved in the new Champions League format. I actually like the format. One big league system, you know, 8 games and stuff like that. I want to be a part of it. Look, for me...
How they make it fair, though, Dave, how they make that fair or not, I don't know, because you can only play 8 games. There's 9 people in the group. You can only play 8 games. You play 4 at home and 4 away. And imagine you're in a group with all the big guns and you didn't draw them at home. You drew all 4 of your big guns were away. It's like madness, you know what I mean? So it's going to be quite difficult. We're going to have to gauge it after watching it for a season to see how it actually works out.
No, look, it might not work for me. I think it's exciting. You know, you'll hopefully see a lot of the big teams play each other and stuff like that, rather than avoid each other and stuff. But look, for me, I do think today is a must win in that regard. I do think it can have repercussions on what sort of European competition we're in next season. You know, if we win today, it gives you real momentum heading into Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. If you don't pick up all 3 points today, it could have a sour note, and the seat, you know, could peter out. You got to remember, you know, Stamford Bridge, we don't traditionally do too well going there. Liverpool traditionally don't do too well going there. We've got Man City coming up. If they're still chasing down the league, they're going to be hard to beat at home, despite us sort of being their bogey team. So for me, you've got this game, and I think you've got the Burnley game where you have to be taking 6 points. Them other 4 games, we've got to just try and be at our best and take what we can. But I do think it'll have repercussions in sort of what European football we finish on. Now, Aston Villa don't have easy fixtures either. They've got the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, you know, teams like that as well. Plus, they've got another European game in there. And if they win that, they go further into the competition, which I hope they do, actually, for coefficient points. But look, for me, I don't want to have to rely on 5th spot and coefficiency points and stuff like that. I think that's of a Tottenham sort of era and psyche in years gone by. For me, under Andrew, I want to create a new one. And for me, I want to put our destiny in our own hands. I want to take, you know, I want to take full advantage of the situation we're in and just not rely on other teams, you know, for us to get in there. Just start relying on ourselves. Once we can implement that, it'd be good for us heading into next season. So for me, I do think today is a must win, and I do think it could have repercussions in terms of what sort of European football we see. But look,
I mean, yeah, and Dave, we want to finish the season strong as well. Do you know what I mean? On to next season. And today, yeah, I agree with what you say. I think 3 points is good going into these, these games against Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. And we need that confidence to go into them sort of games.
No, 100%. 100% we do. And that's why I think if we win today and rewrite the omens and beat Newcastle, well, we'll go into them games full of confidence, bad intentions, looking to beat them teams up. So for me, I do think, it'll dictate sort of how them next 3 games will go. But we've got Ronald McDonald joining us. Paul, how are you keeping, my man?
I'm all right, man. All right, man. I was a bit later because I just heard about the news as what's gone on in Sydney, so I was just checking in with the kids. They're good. In fact, this might be an omen for today. My daughter's team, they're newly promoted. They won their first game of the season 11-1, and my daughter scored 4 goals. So I reckon it's good for a shellacking at St James's Park today, man.
Sonny might take some inspiration, might bag 4 himself. By the way, I've seen a couple of people put in what's happening in Sydney. Thoughts and prayers go out to people out there. Really, really sad to see. But Paul, I mean, where are you at in terms of today's games? Just briefly, we've spoke about maybe wanting a bit of revenge on Newcastle after what happened up there last season. And also, is today important in terms of getting the victory over the line, in terms of wanting to be in Champions League next season? Now, I know Ange is not too fussed about, and I get it. But as a fan, I do want to be in it.
Yeah.
Your audio's gone a bit bad there, Paul.
I'm on the same page as Ange. I just want to. Did I disappear there? Am I back? Hello?
Yeah, you disappeared. You're back now, though.
Sorry, folks. Right, yeah. I just want to see us play our football, stick to our guns, It worked when we played Newcastle earlier in the year. I want to see that again. The result isn't that important as far as top 4. I obviously want to win every game to see how high you can finish. And I think we've got a really good chance. So I want revenge for last year. I'm sure you. Last thing I heard was you were telling everyone to get their orders to McDonald's into me. So I got them in, but I ate them all as well. So I'm all stuffed. But yeah, we got to turn around that embarrassment from last year, haven't we? That's the main thing on my mind.
No, I'm the same. I want to salvage a bit of pride. Before we move on, though, I mean, I'm a kind of distracted. I think it's very important. What drink did you get from McDonald's?
Coke, man, the best drink in the world. Always a Coke.
It's got to be a vanilla milkshake, Paul. It's got to be a milkshake. But look,
when we were naughty young scamps going to Spurs, we would stop in the McDonald's on the high road and get a thick shake, and then take the lid off and leave it upside down on the desk, and then watch them as they picked it up. I mean, it's horrible. Don't do that, kids.
Oh, I would have hated you. If I was working there. I would have absolutely hated you for it. Genius, though. I might try that, even though I'm 30-odd years of age. Big up, Dark Zone G. Under Atwell, we won 6, lost 1. Man United, Nuno sacked. So that's okay. We've got a good omen under Atwell, so hopefully he can give us the right decisions in the VAR room today. Interestingly, only 1 penalty this year, which I find absolutely shocking. So hopefully he might give us 1 or 2 today. That'll be absolutely brilliant, Dark Sun G. But it's good to see that we've got good omens underneath him. If he performs well, I might put him in my candidate for man of the match. And Dark Sun G says Atwell gave Ziyech a red, then changed to yellow. Okay, so I'll take everything I've said about the plonker. I'll take it all back, my man. I don't want him operating VAR then if that's the case, because clearly he does not know what he's doing. By the way, where was VAR last week? That challenge on Lo Celso, by the way. I mean, Romero was got a red for it against Chelsea earlier on in the season, and he even pulled it back to give him a red card. So, I just want a bit of fairness, Dark Sun G, with these guys. That's all we're asking for. But by the way, how's the owl lad as well? I know he's a Liverpool fan. Probably was worse during the week, right? That 3-0 humbling to Atlanta that no one saw coming. So how is the owl lad in that regard, Dark Sun G? But guys, we'll start with you on this one, Jose. Last season, Newcastle finished in the Champions League spots despite everyone's expectations they would be finishing around the Conference League spots. This season, they've suffered from injuries tremendously and watched their season spiral far away from their original expectations. But to be fair to Newcastle, they sort of saw this coming. If anyone watched their documentary on Amazon Prime, they spoke about heading into the next season in terms when you bring in European football, your injuries almost double. So I'd argue they probably didn't do enough in terms of squad rotation and stuff like that. But does Ange's first season with Spurs remind you of Newcastle's sort of great season last season? Of course, they had no Europe and finished top 4. But also, how do we avoid next season it's spiraling out of control in terms of injuries and stuff like theirs have done this season? Because it is statistically proven we'll get hammered next year with injuries.
We were talking earlier about the technology, weren't we? And I said how that's played a part on a lot of the injuries. If they bring in that offside technology we were talking about, then I think that's going to reduce injuries, whereby we've had the same technology we had last season, we had this season. So therefore, Newcastle have not benefited from that. We may benefit from that next season by having the semi-auto technology, whereby we won't get as many injuries as what we've got this season. Invariably, also, they say that with Ange's tactics and the training that Ange does, that first season, people do pick up some muscular injuries, but it's cured by the time the second season comes. So I think the combination of second season training with Ange and the combination of semi-auto technology for offside will improve fitness levels and reduce injury. So I don't think, and I don't want to be a prophet of doom, but I don't think we're going to suffer in the sense of injuries as Newcastle have suffered this year.
Fair enough. I hope not, by the way. I do hope not.
Yeah.
Phil, where are you at with it? You know, what do you make of this season, you know, without Europe? And do you expect next season to be even tougher with Europe?
I think we got enough experience in the Champions League and in Europe itself to sort of cope. But I think we need to bolster up the squad, not just with quantity but with quality, and that will go a long way in terms of coping with all competitions. I think it's a little bit different with Newcastle because they weren't in the Champions League before. Well, they have been in it, but it was a while back. So I think that they were always going to struggle with Champions League this season. They have had a lot of injuries, granted, but yeah, we need to bolster up this squad definitely, and get rid of a lot of dross that we've still got at the club. And yeah, I think we'll go a long way if we do that.
No, 100%. I think bolstering up the squad is absolutely crucial in that regard. Paul, how do you think Ange Postecoglou will handle having an extra competition next year? Of course, he was in the Champions League at Celtic. You know, some Celtic fans would argue they wanted to go a bit further in it, but I mean, they traditionally don't do well in the Champions League anyway, so I don't know what they were moaning about. But I mean, how do you think Ange will handle the pressure next year?
Oh, look, I thought Celtic were fantastic last year in the Champions League. Much more exciting to watch than Spurs were, as we were limping about, squeaking through, you know, defending a 1-0 deficit to AC Milan. I mean, yeah, Celtic didn't get the results, but that's just because of lack of experience in the competition, I think. And I think if we're in Europe next year, it could be a lot of fireworks happening. I think it'd be very, very exciting. Very exciting. I think we'll do a bit better than Newcastle have done this year, and also we're going to do a lot better in the league as well. I think Jose's right. The first year, while these players are getting toughened up, they're going to have niggles, they're going to have hamstrings, they're going to have this and they're going to have that, but they're going to be used to it next year. So we're going to be a lot stronger, I think, with a bit more personnel as well. It's going to be great.
Do you know, I think we'll be exciting in the Champions League next season. We already know we're going to go in there and play football. We ain't going to tailor ourselves to the opposition. And one thing I'll give Ange, you know, he didn't change when Real Madrid came to town. And for 45 minutes, it looked like Celtic could have turned them over that night.
They were hitting the post and everything, man.
Yeah, a bit more clinical finishing, right, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. Banging the post. It was about the 60th minute onwards that they just ran out of puff. They couldn't, and then Real Madrid's just quality came through. But Real Madrid were on the ropes for a lot of that game.
Yeah. And for me, I think it would be very exciting, going to toe with some of the bigger teams in there next year. Of course, providing we do qualify. But big up Dark Sung G. In my opinion, Newcastle dropped off because Tonali expensive. Look, I think he's a fantastic player. Anyone that's been listening to me a while, I've always banded his name about bringing him in here as a sort of deep line playmaker. Good job we didn't now, though, right? How long he's been out suspended with his gambling and stuff like that. Look, a fantastic player, but I definitely think it's hurt them. When him and Gomes were in that midfield earlier on in the season at the start, it looked absolutely terrific. Looked scary almost at times. And it definitely hasn't helped them in that regard for sure, Dark Sung G. But it's not been only that, though. It's been the amount of injuries they carried all season long. I mean, I just don't get it. Like I said, I watched the Newcastle documentary and they sort of brought it up in a board meeting that, we will get a lot more injuries, is statistically proven and stuff like that. And they didn't do enough to maybe, counteract that and stuff like that. So maybe, they're reaping what they sow maybe in that regard, Dark Sung G. But look, Tonali's an absolute fantastic player. They do say all great players have their demons, right? They're all like flawed geniuses is what they say. I think Tonali probably comes under that category. Big up, Dark Sung G. Really appreciate support, but he is an absolute baller. Guys, I want to talk a little bit about, the assistant manager. So, fans have complained that Ange is too quiet on the sideline. Eddie Howe has his assistant in Jason Tyndall, who usually does all of the angry shouting and pointing for him, whether it's to the referees, to the pitch and stuff like that. Is Ange missing the trick here? And should he give Ryan Mason sort of, either get him to start taking a lot of the flack, when it comes to speaking to referees and stuff like that, or look to bring in someone a little bit more different when it comes to that regard. Because I know Millie Jedinak, but he's in games like, he's usually up in the stands and stuff like that rather than in the dugout. So we'll start with you on this one, Phil.
I don't really care what Ange does on the sideline, to be honest with you. I think he does that in the dressing room anyway. I don't see anything in that. It's good to see the passion on the sideline. With Conte, what he was doing last year, but as long as Ange is telling the boys what to do in the dressing room, and giving them a rollicking if they ain't performing well at half time or whatever, then I think he knows what he's doing anyway. I just don't believe it, to be honest with you.
Right, for me, I'll go because he's probably making a cup of tea, so I'll carry on with the chat. So for me, I think I'm with you, Phil. I don't care what they do from the sideline. There's two ways of looking at it. Either Ange doesn't want people to be like that, right? And he tells them that, or people feed off Ange and see how Ange is and think to themselves, well, we are a team, we're united as a team, and we'll act the same way that he does. So there's two ways of looking at it. Ange has never been one of these, even at Celtic and anywhere he's been. He's never been one of these that starts running down the line like Fraudetta does and Clippity Clop and people like that. He doesn't do all that. And he's not the arm waver and the shaker and all that some of these other Prem managers are. Yeah, I agree that, Tyndall and Howe seem to be tied at the hip together. And that's the way they operate and that's the way they work. But we don't work like that at Tottenham. And it doesn't mean that we're any less passionate. It doesn't mean we're any less emotional. It doesn't mean that we're any less engaged with what we're doing. It's just a different way. We're just a different way of doing it. And you've got to manage and deal with situations in different ways in order to succeed. We're just doing it this way. So
I think the calmness of him on the sideline as well rubs off on the players because, if you've got an erratic manager on the sideline barking out orders, it sort of like gives off the impression that the manager isn't trusting what the players are doing out there at that time. So I think Ange's persona on the sideline is a good thing, to be honest with you.
Interesting. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just boiling the kettle now. It's boiling. I'm going back off to make a quick cup of tea. So, Paul, I mean, what do you make of a lot of this when it comes to Ange Postecoglou? It's sort of been there, not all season long, since the results have been a bit up and down, about Ange maybe not being strong enough on the sideline, a strong enough personality. I mean, do you think that's a fair accusation? I mean, because look, Conte's a hard act to follow. He got his own cam, right? I don't think you're going to have Postecoglou cam.
I think it's bollocks, Dave.
He's not a fucking cheerleader, is he? I mean, what the fuck? I'll tell you what, when you watch him, you watch what he's looking at. His eyes are darting backwards and forwards. He's trying to absorb as much of the game as he can. And I can't recall Keith Birkinshaw running up and down acting like a twat. I'm sure Bill Nick didn't. So, I think that's just, I don't know. There was a comment that Steve Perryman made to me, or as a name drop, where Steve Perryman was accused by a fan a while ago, well, when he was managing. He's saying, "Oh, Steve, Barry Fry, remember Barry Fry?
Yeah.
Managed, yeah. So Steve, Barry Fry is way more passionate than you. What's up, Steve?" And Steve said, "Well, if there's a 50-50 ball, who do you think's going to get it, me or Barry Fry?" And, I think all these histrionics are irrelevant. And I think it's just, it's just because, I mean, every manager's different, but just because Clippity Clop at Liverpool does it, doesn't mean everyone has to do it. And, if the fans think that that's not passion or whatever, I don't know what to say, man. It's 2024, isn't it? I like what he does. And you can see, even last game, double substitution at half time. He's paying attention. He's there feeling the game as much as possible, and that's how he does it.
I'll tell you what, Paul, I can't imagine him being how he is on the sideline. I can't imagine him being like that in the dressing room if the players aren't playing well. So you ain't seeing anything behind the scenes. The fans aren't, but I fully expect Ange to be giving him a rollicking if needs be.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Look, personally, I think people that, if you want what Conte gave on the sideline and stuff like that, I can understand why you're saying maybe, you want to see more from Ange. But personally, I think he's just trying to, bring that air of sort of calmness to them on the pitch rather than being out there screaming, shouting, hands waving everywhere and stuff like that, maybe bringing a bit of nerves and stuff like that to the team and stuff. So I do think he's trying to practice what he preaches in terms of calmness and stuff like that. I do think he would be helped though if he could get someone like Joe Jordan back, as his assistant manager, what he done with Gattuso that time and stuff like that. I do think he'd be helped a little bit if he had someone there maybe to come out off behind him screaming at the referee for decisions and stuff. Because I know Ange ain't going to do that. He's not that type of guy. He ain't going to stand there in front of the camera screaming at the referees and stuff. He's just not going to do it.
Do you remember that game? Was it against Brighton where there was a bit of a melee happening and Ange was in there, man. Ange was getting ready to throw down. So when he needs to, he can.
I think you definitely lead by example in terms of that regard. I just do think sometimes, look, I listen to a lot of, me, I'm a bit of a loser in my spare time. Listen to a lot of, ex-professional footballers and shit like that talk about the game. And, one thing I always hear about a lot of the generation that I grew up watching, always in the referees' ears, almost re-reffing the games, and they would get the benefit of decisions. I heard Steve Sidwell on the Peter Crouch podcast the other day saying certain referees favour certain teams and certain players and stuff like that. It does happen. They're human beings at the end of the day. And for me, I just think you could get a bad cop in there just to come out, technical area, berate the referee, try and get some decisions to go your way a little bit, and head back into the dugout. That's personally what I would like to see happen in that regard. But in terms of Ange's management on the sideline, I'm absolutely okay with it. So yeah, just thought that'd be a bit of a good discussion. But guys, 18 of our 23 Premier League goals in 2024 have come in the second half of games. But guys, I'm struggling here. It's hard to know whether this has been more of a strength for Spurs or is it more of a sign of a hidden problem with our first half performances. And we'll start with you on this one, Paul, and work our way backwards.
Sorry, I was distracted there. I was looking.
Oh,
what was
you're
that?
all right. I can get something else to go if you want to go. If you want to go.
No, what was the question? What was the question? Quickly, just in a nutshell.
18 of our 23 Premier League goals in 2024 have come in the second half of games, and I'm sort of struggling. It's hard to know whether it's been more of a strength for Spurs or is it more of a sign of a hidden problem with our first half performances.
Gotcha. I think a lot of the way we've been playing is wearing teams down. You know, there's also been there's been games where we've got early goals as well, but it's teams are expecting us to go at them full throttle, and quite a few teams have tried to match that intensity and that tempo. But the reason why we're getting late goals is because they just get knackered, and we just don't stop. We just keep going, and we never give up. And we're not doing game management. We're not wasting time. We're trying to get goals, and so I think the goals will sort of come earlier and earlier the better we get at it. You know, especially when our front line is up to it. But I'm not concerned. Look, in short, I don't give a shit when a goal's scored. I don't care if it's minute 1 or minute 105. Who gives a fuck? You know, a goal's a goal. So no big deal, man.
No, look, I understand where you're coming from in that regard. Look, for me, I would like to see us, you know, and I do think I do think Ange wants this as well, for us to go at teams maybe earlier, you know, maybe take advantage of the possession and that the dominance that we usually do show in first halves. But I do think that will come with a couple more signings in that forward line in the summer. Right now, I think, you know, Paul's right. We are passing teams to death. They are tiring out. And then that's where we can get the quick players on, you know, going down the sidelines. And that's where chances will produce themselves. However, though, Phil, I would like to create maybe more chances before that period arrives in the second half.
Yeah, we all want to see, you know, us getting a goal early in the game, you know what I mean, and starting well in the game early. But we are 7 months into Ange's project, so you know it's not going to be plain sailing straight away. You know, players have to be used to his system. It's not going to happen overnight. So I fully expect us to be full throttle next season in the way we're playing, especially with you know, some quality signings in summer. It's only just going to help that. So it's not worrying from my part. I just think we have to be a little bit patient with it. But you know, we all want us to play. We all want us to see them play at full 90 minutes. You know, playing well, but it's not going to happen all the time. So yeah, I'm not worried.
Are you in the same sort of thought, Jose, when it comes to the boys? Maybe not worried about it. The more Andrew's here, the longer he's here, the more transfers come in, the more that'll improve.
Listen, for me, right, I think that we're not giving enough credit to our team and what we do, right?
Why?
Because people are questioning what we bloody do. People question it. We should do this and we should do that. Listen to the experts. Listen to the pros. You listen to the other managers from the rival clubs that we play against, and they say Tottenham are so hard to play against. It's so hard to manage against Tottenham. This is the rival managers saying it. Now, these are people that have been seasoned pros at the top of their game. That's why they're managers in the Premier League, and they're turning around and saying this all the time about Tottenham. So come on. At the end of the day, whether we haven't battered a team in the first half and been 4-0 up, but then we've gone on to win 3-1 in the second half. We've come from a goal down. Managers are saying it, and other teams are saying it about us. So at the end of the day, we got to give some credit to our team, to the management. We got to give credit to our players for the way that we play. Look at the amount of points we've got this season. Look at the amount of games we've won, you know, this season. At the end of the day, we're having a better season than we thought we would have. Do you know what I mean? So for me to start questioning, is it right what we're doing in the first half? Is it right what we're doing in the second half? I'm no different to anyone else. I want to be 4-0 up at half time. I want to go on to win 13-0. That's what I want. I want that every week, but don't we all? But we're not going to get it. What team goes out 4-0 at half time and wins 13-0? I don't think anyone in the Premiership does it. You know. And at the end of the day, the other thing I'd say is, you look at Man City, right? Man City play people to death off the park and that. If you took the kits away and you just dressed everyone in black, right? Both Tottenham and Man City, and you watch the way Man City play and watch the way Tottenham play. You couldn't tell us apart. We have to do the horseshoe thing, the same as what Man City do. I've seen Man City play, especially I saw them play against Brentford, and it was only a mistake in the Brentford penalty box that led to Man City going up and scoring a goal and winning 1-0. However, if you want to call it struggling, then bloody hell, they were Tottenham in disguise. They did exactly what we did. It's just because we're Tottenham. It's just because we're a fan base, and we're just not, we just turn around and say, well, they're doing this, they're not doing that. Man, at the end of the day, all teams suffer and all teams go through it. I just think that we got to give our team and the management the due respect that they deserve, because professionals do. So why shouldn't we? That's where I am with it, mate.
You're right, Jose. I mean, we made Unai Emery bottle it at home the other week, playing 5 at the back, because he's worried about us. Managers are worried about us, and rightfully so.
That's right. He changed his system. That's right, Paul. You're right. He did. He changed he doesn't play a 5 normally, and he did. He changed for when we went to Villa Park.
Well, look, I'm going to take this comment from Jumping Jack Flash here in a minute. We'll let Paul maybe have an answer on that. But I just want to say, look, for me, I definitely think it's something to work on. I don't think it's all... Look, what I will say is teams are changing the way they played against us. Earlier on the season, they gave us no respect whatsoever. Everyone pressed the living crap out of us, thinking we were the same Spurs from last season. That's what I think led to a lot of that 10-game unbeaten run. Halfway during the season, you see it week in, week out now. We come up against a lot more teams who sit in and play low block. So part of it is to do with teams changing the way they approach us because of how good we are getting into the final third. But don't get me wrong, I do think we need to improve in terms of the final third. And I do think we need to take advantage, more sometimes of the spell of possession and the dominance that we do maybe grasp in the first half of games, because sometimes we'll find ourselves going in 1-0 down and having to go and chase the game, stuff like that. Whereas I do feel if we just took more advantage and knocked on the door a lot more with the possession that we had, be a bit more creative with it, want to go and sort of have that killer instinct and kill teams off, you would make games a lot more easier for yourself this season. However, saying that, it is a work in progress. We are sort of, getting better. We're not getting better, but, we've done well this season. Jose is right. A lot of managers, and I've heard this, who's the best team you've come up against this season? A lot of them do say Tottenham in terms of how much we do dominate games and stuff like that. But I would like to see us have more killer instinct and do more stuff with that possession, more stuff with that dominance. You kill teams off early, it does make your game a lot more easier. I think by leaving it to the second half of games, you almost encourage teams at times, especially up till about 55, 60 minutes, that when you do have a chance to attack against Tottenham, go, So for me, I would like to see us be a bit more dominant in possession. But look, like I said, I do think a lot of that stuff, because if people remember earlier on in the season, we had the opposite problem. We couldn't see out games. That's completely flipped. So, our managers and that, people say Andres found out. A lot would argue, he's adapted from, earlier on the season to what he's seen in front of him with other teams adapting, and he's trying his best there. Look, we all knew losing the likes of Harry Kane and stuff like that, it was going to have a bit of an impact on that front three and stuff like that. And they're doing the best they can. But for me, I think this is where you need to go out and get something a little bit different to Sonny in the market for these sort of games. Because I was watching the Man City documentary on Netflix, and they said they brought in Haaland for that reason, for these teams that do play low block, that they have the option to be able to put the ball in the box, and send the big man after it and stuff like that. So I do think having a proper striker like that would help our cause at times against some of these low block teams. But that's my thoughts on it. A bit different to the boys. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I will take this from Jumping Jack Flash, because look, we do like difference of opinions and stuff like that. But maybe a bit different to what we're saying here, Paul. But he says, pointless horseshoe football with 2 defenders, suicide football. No wonder he was never offered a top job before. Now, one-dimensional, naive, crap, and he's sick of it. He wants to pin him. I mean, I think that's incredibly harsh, but go on.
I think that's about all I can say about that. Why don't you go and support Man City, mate? He was never offered a top job. Can you name any other Australian managers that have got out of Australia and managed? No, because it is so bloody hard to get out of Australia. And he did it because he's one of the world's best managers. You know, I don't know who you want. And, you know, I get fed up with this. Ange is the only manager that gets called naive. You know, every time we draw or lose a game, Ange is naive. No other manager. We're bloody fourth. We're fourth. There's 16 other managers that are worse than him in theory, you know. So, you know, bin yourself, mate.
Do you know what? Just quickly, I do think people miss the point sometimes when it comes to Postecoglou, right? Look, don't get me wrong. I get we're starved for success, right? We all want trophies at this football club. But when it comes to Ange Postecoglou, I think he's thinking longer term than just this season only. If you look back to the Fulham game, many people berated him for playing that squad, but a lot of them are gone out the door. A lot of them are gone out the door, and I reckon some of the others who are hanging around from that game will be the next ones out the door. I think when it comes to Ange Postecoglou, I think he's done a good job. No one's expecting us to be fighting for Champions League this season. We've had a change in goals for the first time in a decade. We've got a complete new back line, and we lost our star striker in the summer. So for me, he's had a lot to deal with in terms of as well the injuries, players going away on international break and stuff like that. Now, I know people would say, I want a plan B. I want him to tailor, you know, to the squad that he has and stuff like that. And I know people would reference maybe someone like a Guardiola and stuff like that. But people forget he's got a squad that's completely his. He's had his say in all them signings. So he's not asking them to do something that they can't do. And it works to great effect because he's handpicked them for certain reasons and stuff like that. With Ange Postecoglou, if he starts tailoring this team to when Davies plays and other people play, what's the point? Everyone moaned when Conte done that last year. Everyone moaned when Conte done it. Everyone moaned when Jose done it and stuff like that. For me, he has to know who can last his system over the course of the season, who can't. I guarantee you'll see a lot of changes in terms of the squad. I think a lot of people missed an interview he done there about a month ago where he spoke. He says, look, this squad is nowhere near to my liking. You know, I've got a lot more work to do on it and stuff like that. He's not even naive himself to know that this is nowhere near the finished article. And I do think at times we need to show a manager in the dugout a bit of patience. I get the frustrations with the trophies, but that has to go to the owners. At some point, we have to sit there and look at a manager and equate whether this guy's going to be the right guy or not. You know, we didn't want Jose, who had proven trophies in the bag. You know, most fans didn't think he was the right guy. Same with Antonio Conte and stuff like that. For me, when you look at City, Guardiola, when he first arrived, didn't win the Premier League, did he? It wasn't built up what it was supposed to be, but they got more signings, and look what they went on to win. Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. I remember they drew with West Brom, and their players are up like that to the fans at the end of the game. Looked like they were celebrating a draw. But what Klopp was doing was instilling what he wanted, his philosophy going forward. Liverpool stuck by the guy, kept investing in him, and he brought every club in club football to Liverpool. I know that people want success overnight, but even Man City didn't have it overnight with Guardiola, neither did Liverpool with Klopp. You know, look what Arteta's done at Arsenal with time and stuff like that. And for me, when I look at Postecoglou, people say he's found out. Right now, today, he sits as the fourth best manager in the Premier League, behind Arteta, who's been at Arsenal years, behind Klopp, who's been at Liverpool years, and behind Guardiola, who's been at City years. So I wouldn't say he's completely found out, right? He's the best of everybody else in the league that's come in, you know, on other managers that have been here for quite some time. For me, I see more than enough under this guy to give him the keys, give him the investment that he needs to try and push us on. I don't think we're too far away. Defensively, people would say, oh, we're still conceding at the same rate we did last season. Last season, we played 11 men behind the ball, including Harry Kane. Big difference, you know. People say, you know, when I look at the sort of what he's trying to instill, does it work? It gets us into the final third. It helps us dominate possession rather than being out of possession and stuff like that. For me, I do think the only improvement to this team is the final third that we really need to invest in. And I think we'll be absolutely cooking next year. But that's just my thoughts on it, Jumping Jack Flash. Let me know your thoughts on it. Guys, anything else you want to add before we move on?
Could I just say, well, that basically, Ange hasn't had a proper transfer window to plan. He came in the summer, and he didn't really have a window where he could plan and get the players in. Plus, we didn't have a recruitment team with Lange and Scott Munn and, you know, people like that. So I think it's going to be planned better in the summer, and I think you'll see the benefits to that in the transfer window.
Mm.
I mean, look at how Celtic have gone to shit this year. You know, Brendan Rodgers. I bet old what's his name, Twat Features in the comments would have preferred Brendan Rodgers over Ange, and he's shown himself to be far worse than Ange as a manager up north of the border. Oh yeah, you'll see.
Yeah, no, the Celtic fans are just Celtic fans do not want Rodgers. In fact, they loved his football before Ange came. Ange came, produced what he did. He's gone. What Rodgers has walked in after there, he's making it look a lot tougher of a job. By the way, this guy's Premier League experience, right? And the football is no longer good enough because of what they've seen under Ange and stuff like that. At Celtic, you got to remember, Swelly, when he walked in there, he's got a squad on par of being at the top of the league and stuff like that. He didn't really have to build it. He brought in some smart recruitment from Japan and stuff. But he walked into being one of the best 2 teams in Scotland. He walked into Tottenham when we were outside of Europe, and he now has us sitting inside top 4. So I do think there's been progress there, and I would like to see it for another season personally.
He's not even a year into the job, Dave.
This is why I keep saying, this is why I keep saying ridiculous. Patience.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, 7 months, 8 months into the job, and we're already questioning him. It's madness. Absolutely mad.
10 games into the job, and people were questioning him after the Chelsea game.
I mean, look at it's not just the recruitment. I mean, Conte, Mourinho, they both loved Eric Dyer. Ange took one look at him, said, piss off, mate, piss off. No manager's done that. Although Eric Dyer is playing the best football of his career, apparently.
No, honestly, the commentators were so biased in that Arsenal game. It was absolutely a joke. I mean, for 35 minutes, they sent their sort of, I don't know, it was weird, making every excuse for Eric Dyer possible. And then on the 34th minute, I think the guy turns around and says, Eric Dyer's just finding his range. And I'm like, well, I mean, what will he do? Find it at half-time, halfway during the game? I mean, it's absolute madness. But look, we take this from the Belgian Hotspur. I see a couple of other comments that, I'll fleet through and bring up, a bit of a controversial flashpoint there when it comes to Ange Postecoglou, which I didn't think there would be this morning. But the Belgian Hotspur, as always, good to see you, my man. This guy's a great supporter of all channels, so fair play. And he says, horse and joust ready to storm the castle. Come on, you Spurs. I mean, look, if you want to go full frontal like that, Belgian Hotspur, be my guest. Look, I would prefer to go a bit incognito, build that horse, the horse of Troy, sort of, and then open up and send everyone in to storm the castle. But look, if you want to go horse and joust, I mean, be my guest. I absolutely love that. We'd probably stick the captain's armband on for you today, Belgian Hotspur. So big yourself up, my man, and really appreciate the support, brother. Great comment. We got Danny Darko says Matters needs a game time. We'll get on to Matters. Do not worry about that. We also have the Hotspur Hood. We need to sort the defense style out. 2 clean sheets in 25 games. It needs to change there. Look, I do hear you on that in that regard, but I think when you look at it, right, we're playing in the opposition third and stuff like that. Last year we defended with 11 men and had our worst defense in Tottenham's history. This season it's complete different. At times it is Romero and Van de Ven left back there, but the more they play in this system, the more better it'll get. I'd also argue, how many of them 25 games did Emerson and Davies form a centre-back partnership as well in that regard? So I don't think it's a true reflection of Ange's. Look, we know what players Ange wants to work with in terms of first 11, the first 13, 14 players, the same guys that play and come off the bench and stuff like that. I do get what you're saying, though, Hotspur Hood. I would like to tighten up and keep a few more clean sheets. Don't disagree on that one. Let me see who else have we got here. I think we had a couple of people disagreeing, and I just want to find it. Where is it? Big up there, Big T, by the way. Great to see you in the building. Hopefully you're keeping well. Where is he? Time added on, I think, put in a comment there. He says, big up, Al. Hopefully you're keeping well. He says, Ange is not one of the world's best managers. Come on. I don't believe I said he's one of the world's best managers.
No, that was me.
Oh, well, that was you. And he says, but I believe given the tools to do the job, he will have success, but that's got to come from the top. A tweak here or there to the tactics can't hurt. Look, we all know about the investment, right? A manager's only as good as the tools he's got to work with. You're absolutely spot on. That money does have to come from the top. And let's see what they decide to do this summer after they did the loss that they've announced and stuff like that. When it comes to a tweak here or there, I think Ange Postecoglou is here to initially implement his system. He will not waver, which means you either have to do what he wants you to do or you're out this football club, which I completely agree with. In years gone by, you know, Conte go to a player, you do this, player goes, no. But it doesn't matter what you say because I'll just go to Levy. I've got the dressing room in my palm of my hands and everything else anyway. So I don't want to do that. You heard them complain about, you know, defending set pieces. Conte worked too much on set pieces. Yeah, how many goals do we concede from set pieces and stuff like that? You know, I do think the tweaks will come when he's got more players to work with. The only tweaks he can make to what we do now is worse than what we're seeing when he has to play worse players. He can't go and ask them to do something a lot better in terms of what we're seeing when with worse players and stuff like that. For me, when he's got more of a squad to work with, I do think you'll see some things maybe tweaked and stuff to his system in that regard, Alan. But beat yourself up, my man. Really appreciate the support. Jesus, you guys are making my job hard today. You're causing a lot of controversy for me this morning. I was hoping for a nice, easy morning. But guys, great to have these discussions. Absolutely love it. We'll bring you back in here, Jose. Last year, we saw our captain and veteran goalkeeper, Hugo Lloris, walk out on the team at halftime. We talk a lot about Vicario's amazing goalkeeping skills. But what do you make of his leadership quality as well? Because that's one thing I didn't like about Hugo Lloris. I didn't think he was a great leader.
So am I talking about Lloris or am I talking about Vicario?
Well, Jose, whoever you want.
Okay.
Well, if you were listening to the question,
I did listen to the question.
Right,
okay, so I was listening to the question. I just wanted to see which way you wanted me to go now, but I'm going to go both ways anyway. Right, Lloris is a World Cup winner. Was our captain. What happened last year happened last year. It's for me, it's water under the bridge. It's gone. It's past. He's no longer at our club. However, did he instill confidence in me? As our club captain, no, he didn't, because I don't know how a keeper can affect a game when your strikers are like 80 yards up the pitch. So I'm not sure how the keeper could affect the game. So I'm not sure that he did all that for us. Vicario, however, is a different monster altogether in my eyes. He's not a World Cup winner. Before anyone beats me up, he ain't a World Cup winner yet. But yeah, you can see he commands his defence. He's always shouting. He's always on at everyone. He's not just on at the defenders. He comes running out of his penalty box as well to go and grab people and all that. He gets involved. He's a team player. He gets involved, and he gives he on that he gives you far more confidence than what Lloris did. Lloris wouldn't run out of his box and run 30, 40 yards to go and grab a player. So you know, so yeah, he does instill confidence. People look at Vicario within the team. I'm not going to say us as fans. I'm going to say people look at Vicario within the team and they respect him. I mean, he's slightly older than the rest of the players that we've got, because we've got quite a few. We've got a few youngsters in the team. What's Vicario? 27 now. So you know, he's been around, and people do value him going and terrorizing them when he has a go at them and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm instilling. I have confidence with Vicario. And I think that leads itself throughout the team.
Look, I absolutely love Vicario. I think in terms of one-on-one saves, I think quietly he's probably one of the best goalkeepers in the league in that regard. You know, with his feet, you know, he's a modern day goalkeeper. Absolutely happy with that. He brings a bit of calmness and stuff. I think, you know, at times in years gone by, you're pumping the ball or giving the ball back to Hugo, and he's panicking and pumping it 80 yards up the field, not giving anyone a chance. Where Vicario does bring a bit of calmness. I think he's been a very good goalkeeper. Don't get me wrong, it hasn't been perfect. You know, in terms of set pieces, I think the guy could be stronger coming out. You know, that old saying, take man and ball, stop this, you know, fannying about, coming out, punching it and shit like that. I mean, you just wouldn't get away with that in Ireland. You know, in Ireland, there's a sport called Gaelic football. It's played with your hands and your feet. And every Gaelic footballer goes up with two hands and goes to claim that ball. If you don't, you just won't play. It's that simple. So for me, I think when it comes to Vicario, we need to get him over to Ireland maybe this summer to sort of, you know, teach him how to jump and catch a ball with two hands. But apart from that, I think he's been absolutely brilliant. But one thing I love most, how much it actually means to the guy to be here. You know, he said he'd sign in blood. I know some people said, that's just, you know, all fluff and stuff. I love hearing it. I love hearing it, but I also love when it's backed up on the pitch. I mean, Dyer said he wanted his ashes buried under Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but then went and started on fans in the stands, constantly talks about the club and stuff like that. Whereas Vicario actually means it. After games, when we win, look at him, giving all that to the crowd and stuff. And you know what? My old lad is one of them. He hates all that shit, right? He hates all the whooping and the wooing and everything else. Whereas for me, I actually don't mind it. I think it's a good signal that, these players recognize that as us fans, we're there. In years gone by, the other squads didn't. Just walk straight down the tunnel, couldn't give a shit. I do like Vicario, and I do like his leadership ability. He's constantly talking, constantly organizing. From set pieces, he is trying to put people in the right positions and stuff like that. And you know what? He's a leader without having to have the armband as well. So I'm all for that when it comes to Vicario. I mean, Paul or Phil, do you want to have anything to say on Vicario before I move on?
Yeah,
Go on, Paul. Go on.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of goalkeepers being captains either, but he's a captain of his 18-yard box, isn't he? And it took me a while. Usually when I see goalkeepers trying to play football, I shit myself, but I kind of trust him now. Like his timing for when he comes out of his penalty area, because we're so far up the pitch, he's like playing sweeper keeper. I think he's great. I think he's the best keeper in the league at the moment. He's got his call up for Italy, so things are happening for him. I think he's done fantastically well.
I think he's been absolutely brilliant. Phil?
Yeah, I think the main thing is, the most important thing is he's vocal with the back four. We didn't have that with Hugo. Hugo was a great shot stopper. He was great servant to the club, but Vicario is very vocal with the back four. And I think that's so important to have a keeper that does that. And just his passion as well, and his leadership, and I think he's so respected within the group. I just think he's been a revelation this season. Probably one of the best signings we've made this season, along with Van der Ven.
Do you know what? I was a bit nervous heading into the season how he'd get on, changing in the garden, stuff like that. But he's been absolutely phenomenal. Corby79 says, Dave, how many monsters in are you, brother? I want you fully caffeinated by kickoff. Look, no monsters today. I've had 2 cups of Lion's tea. I'm not sure what sort of, perk you get out of a tea bag, right? But look, for me, don't worry. I'm absolutely high off life, high off the fresh air around me, but also raring to go, because one thing I hate is being humiliated, especially when I can't do anything about it. My football team is. So today, just revenge alone got me out of bed, ready to go, brother. Big yourself up. And then we also have the owl lad, big up, my man. And he says, Vicario isn't great on crosses, lads. I'd give him another season before I slate him. He needs to calm down a bit. He's a very hard man to impress, my owl lad. A very hard man to impress. But look, he will warm to Vicario. Do not get him started on Pedro Porro. He hates all the,
I do agree with that, though. The only criticism I'll have is he's not strong in the penalty area at the minute on crosses and set pieces. So, there's still time to improve on that. So I'm not too worried about it.
No, look, there's still time to improve, and I think he will. I mean, that's definitely somewhere he'll probably work on over the summer for sure. But guys, I have a few more questions, about the lineup and stuff like that, and then we'll probably run till about 11:30, and then let everyone sort of, go and get ready for the game and stuff like that. But who did I go to on that one first? I think I went to Jose. So we'll come to you on this one first, Phil. Edozie has been off form, especially defensively, the last 4 games. All season, there's been no suitable alternative at left back to push him or give him a rest. And what I want to know with Edozie over the last 4 games, is he becoming complacent because of the lack of backup and people pushing him for his spot? Or is he just sort of getting tired come towards the end of the season?
Could be a little bit of both. It's always healthy to have competition behind you. I think Ben Davis, I don't know if he'll be here next season, but I think we need to look in that area for cover. I've got no worries about Edozie coming back into it. I mean, I didn't think he's played that bad, to be honest with you. he's had his couple of faults with the goals recently, but I think he's still, good going forward. He can get better with his defensive work, but I don't think he's been playing that badly. So I don't think I'm worried about it, to be honest with you. We do need cover in that area, though, I will say.
Look, I hope Ben Davies isn't here next season. I mean, Van de Ven, when he has played at left back, Van de Ven has had to spend the time out there recovering. And look, simply, he just can't do what Adoji can do. I would like to get someone, that's similar to what he can offer. I know you're not going to get the exact same and stuff like that, but someone maybe a little bit similar. I know people say, Dave, it's harsh bringing up a question on Adoji. Look, when I look at it, I think the 2 games where he had Dragosin in there, he looked a bit out of sort. And the 2 games when Van de Ven's been back, he still hasn't reached the same defensive. I'm used to seeing absolutely nothing coming from his side. But over the last few games, I've seen him getting a bit more joy down that side. And I'm just trying to figure out what it could be. Paul, go on.
Yeah, what I was going to say is it could be tiredness as well. I mean, he has played a lot of games, and he is the first man on the team sheet at left back. So I think it's so important we do get cover for his position, because I think Davis is a drop off from Adoji, to be honest with you. So I think if needs be, we do need to rest him. Throughout the season, next season, I think it'll do him good.
No, I think a bit of competition would definitely serve him well. Big up Danny Kiriakou as well. I see he's in there somewhere, so big up Danny, and also big up Philly as well. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Paul, 3 of our defenders all have goal of the season candidates. Romero versus Burnley, Porro versus Burnley in the Cup, and Van de Ven versus Forest last week. What's your favourite goal and why?
I'll go with recency bias, man. I thought Van de Ven's one last week was it's so good, because usually a shot from the edge of the box, you see it sort of go through the air like that, whereas this was just a straight line into the top corner. It was I liked it, but I'll take any defender scoring a goal. It's like a bonus, isn't it? So it's good that they're up in those positions, ready to go.
No, it is, and it's not what you're used to seeing from defenders, right? Getting on the end of set pieces and stuff, Technically, they're all brilliant. Van de Ven's goal, brilliant. Romero's against Burnley, which is my favourite. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, that one gives me a Rocky in the morning for sure. And then, Porro's last week was good. Or Porro's against Burnley was absolutely brilliant as well in the FA Cup. His goal last week was good. I don't know whether you guys agree with, or whether you agree with me, Paul. I would like to see Porro maybe take up them positions a bit more, them sort of third man runs into the box or sitting around the edge of the box waiting for things to break, because he's got a good bloody strike. He's a legitimate goal threat, right?
Oh yeah, and he's been a bit he's been a bit like high and a bit wide sometimes. He has had a few cracks, hasn't he? But I think Porro's at his best where he's putting those troublesome balls into the box. And also, I mean, his corners, you can really see a drop off in the quality of our corners when he's not taking them.
Yeah.
So, I just keep doing what you're doing, Porro. And it was a great goal from him last week. I thought the way that Bentancur set that up by kind of running his head round the entire circumference of the football to get it to him, it was a great goal.
I will say, I don't know if that was meant to be honest with you. I don't know if it was.
Of course it was.
I think for prime Brazil.
You reckon he's going for a goal, do you?
Yeah, I think he's trying to go for goal there, to be honest with you. But I'll take it anyway.
Well, Phil, you may as well weigh in. I mean, what's been your favourite goal from one of the defenders this season?
But Van de Ven, by far. I mean, the struggles we've had this season is shooting from outside the box. And Van de Ven just seemed to just take on that mantle and just smash it through the net. I actually thought the ball come out of the net at one point. But yeah, Van de Ven, definitely.
It's lucky there was a net there. The ball would still be going.
I would have worried for the fans in behind the goals. It was hit that hard. To be honest with you, he probably would have took a few people out with that one. It would have been like a game of dominoes. Jose, my man, what's been your favourite goal from one of the defenders this season?
I love them all. I'll take.
Yes,
I'll,
man.
I'll take.
Sprinters.
I'll take. No, it's no sprinters. It's no sprinters. At the end of the day, you do expect. Let's be fair. You expect your goals to come from your forwards, and then secondary from your midfielders. Normally, the goals that you tend to get from your defenders, in most circumstances, are going to be from set pieces, from corners, free kicks, where your centre arse probably get a header in and stuff like that. You don't get many goals from defenders, but God, we've scored some rockets this year from our defenders. So therefore, I'm not sitting on the fence for sprinters. I'll take every goal that our defender scores. But instead of being tap-ins, most of our defenders have scored screamers. I think the only person who's probably got a tap-in this year out of our defenders is a doggy. But apart from that, the other three of a doggy is owed a screamer because he wants to keep up with the others in defence. A doggy's owed a screamer. But yeah, I take them all. I don't have one favourite. I take all the goals the defenders have got. And I mean, I watch a lot of the Premiership, and I can't recall other defenders scoring worldies and screamers like our defenders have scored. I can't remember any other team having a multitude of their defenders scoring worldies. So it's not sitting on the fence with sprinters. I take every goal. I think they're all fantastic.
No, look, I agree with you. It is hard to pick, It is hard to pick.
Yeah, but even the three that you've just said, we've scored other great goals from our defenders. It's not just them three goals that you're choosing. Porro scored another great goal as well, apart from that one. Romero, I remember earlier on the season scoring another superb goal as well. So, okay, it's Mickey van der Ven's first proper goal, but the other two have scored screamers as well before the two that you mentioned.
Well, look, at least they're in a position to score screamers, which is great to see. Sorry, Phil.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think the defenders are showing what the strikers aren't doing at the minute, especially our wing. So I mean, it's great to see that the goals are getting shared around within the squad. And I think our fullbacks should be getting in their position more and more because I think they're such a threat. So yeah. Well, keep it going.
Look, I agree with you. For me, I would like, maybe they're showing the strikers at times have a pop, and midfielders have a pop. You just don't know, and I do think they could maybe take something from that. I think you're absolutely spot on there, Phil. But guys, we will get into the midfield now. Postecoglou took major action at halftime against Forest, making 2 subs at halftime. Midfield duo Yves Bissouma and Papamat Sarr came off for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Rodrigo Bentancur. And to be fair to the guys, they changed the game for us in that second half on Sunday. Do they deserve to start again today at St. James's Park? So I guess what I'm asking is, do they deserve to start? And what is your preferred midfield tree today? And we'll start with you on this one, Jose.
I think with the midfield, it's really difficult, chaps, because we don't see what goes on the training pitch. We don't know where their levels are when they're talking about the red zones and all that, because they carry that contraption on their back that gives them all the data and the telematics of a player, So it's difficult. But I mean, we all say that some players react better from the bench and some players play better from the start. So it's quite difficult. And then obviously as well, it's tailored against. I think sometimes we tailor our midfield. It could well be because of the opponents we're playing. Like I said, the first 10 games of the season, settled team, hardly no changes. Since then, we've had changes every other game. So Bentancur, for me, Bentancur is the best midfielder we've got at the club, hands down, and I'll remain with that. Just that he's coming back from injury. I'm hoping to see a prime Bentancur next season because it was two horrible injuries he's coming back from. He done well when he come off the bench. Equally, the much maligned Højbjerg did well when he come off the bench as well. Apart from nearly giving the ball away in the penalty box again, and one player and one ball where he went to play it out, I think to a doggy, and he toe punted it out of play. And he also does his usual. I don't know what it is. is he being shot by darts or something? Because he does his drunken stumble and falls over as well. But anyway, apart from that, he done all right as well. So some players have reacted better from the bench than starting. So yeah, it's difficult. I mean, people are hammering Basuma as well. Okay, Biss hasn't been the same player he was the first part of the season, but he hasn't had a bad game in the last 2 games. But last week, even in the first half, although I don't think he's done badly, he made a mistake, right? He made a mistake about in the 39th minute or something like that. And I remember watching it, and straight away they panned onto Postecoglou's face. And Postecoglou doesn't jump and break, but you could see in his face, Postecoglou was seething. And as soon as I saw that Postecoglou had seen what Basuma had done in the 39th minute, although he played well for the first 20, I knew that he was getting hooked. I knew from the look that Postecoglou, I knew he was going to get hooked. So to me, I think, who would I like in midfield today? I'd probably like to see Bentancur, Sarr, and Maddison, but I don't think that's going to be the 3.
Interesting. Where are you at with it, Phil? On that midfield tree? Do you agree with us? Or are you a little bit different in that regard?
On performance from the last game, I'd like to see Højbjerg and Bentancur starting that midfield. I think it'll be beneficial today, because I think it's going to be a hard game today. In that midfield, I think that's where the game's going to be won. I think we need a lot of work rate in there. Obviously, Maddison has to start with our creativity, but I think Sarr has had a little drop off in the last couple of games. Basuma hasn't been in form for most of this season, so I think Højbjerg and Bentancur deserve a start with their performances coming off the bench, and
Sorry to say that last bit again there, Phil.
I just think we need a lot of work rate in there today. In midfield, I think Højbjerg and Bentancur bring that. I think we need to keep the ball a lot better as well in that midfield. So yeah, that would be my midfield 2 today.
Interesting. I mean, Paul, I've seen you shaking your head there when Phil said Højbjerg and Bentancur, so I presume you disagree, right?
On Højbjerg, yeah. Because I think every time we start Højbjerg, we're a different team and we're not as good. He's all right coming on as a sub, but even coming on as a sub, he'll be all right for 10, 15 minutes, and then he'll just pull the self-destruct button like he nearly cost us last week. So, and he doesn't want to be at the club. He's always first off the pitch. But as for Bentancur, I mean, that's an interesting one, isn't it? This is a good problem we've got now. I'd like one more quality midfielder bought in the summer as well to make it even harder. But like those 10 games at the beginning of the season, Maddison, Basuma and Sarr, it just looked really well balanced as well. And it hasn't quite been doing that in the last couple of games, even though I'd probably say Sarr hasn't been playing as well. I think Basuma's been okay. He's been defending a bit more. But I do like Sarr. I do like Sarr. I think he's a really useful player to have that knits together things. But if Bentancur was starting instead of Sarr or Basuma, I wouldn't be surprised, because Bentancur is quality as well. But I mean, it's good that, when the substitutions come on, it's not just, Skip and Winks or some arse like that, is it? So it's getting better.
Do you not think Højbjerg deserves a start?
No, because every time
played all right. I think he's played all right. Come on.
Every time we start him, he's dog shit. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I think Højbjerg and Bentancur work better as a pair than Højbjerg, Basuma, or
that's
Højbjerg
true. I think that's true.
They do strike good partnership in midfield.
That's true. And under Conte, they were good. It was when Bentancur, got injured that the wheels really, I mean, but Højbjerg doesn't elevate other players. He needs to be elevated. So if he's playing with good players and they're playing well, then he can be good. But he's not someone that will lift other players up.
Well, look.
What about you, Dave? Come on, Dave.
I like his passion in midfield as well, though. Højbjerg does. I think. I disagree. I disagree with that. I think Højbjerg does rally the troops a little bit in midfield. I think he does do a bit of that. But I only see that on the, when I'm watching the games and he's playing. I do think he does, give a bit of passion in that midfield and just tell the players, if they ain't in the right position or they're not pulling their weight. He does do that in midfield. I have seen him do it.
Why is he always first off down the tunnel? Is he had a curry before the game or something? Why can't he hang around?
No, I think he deserves a start in just recent games. That's all really.
Well, look. What I would say, first of all, Phil, we'll get you to log out and log back in, my man. Some people are saying the mic's starting to crackle, but if you log out, log back in, that should help. I think it's because we've been in here a long time speaking and stuff. But look, when it comes to Højbjerg, I like Højbjerg. I don't think he's as bad as our fan base makes him out to be at times. What I do want to know off everybody is how we've come full circle for everyone wanting him campaigning to get him out of the team, now to wanting him to get him back in the team. I don't understand it personally. It's absolutely madness. But look, it's hard to disagree, right? Højbjerg has come on and had an effect on games, but I do think when he started games, he hasn't had the same effect on games. I agree with Paul in that regard. I think he is better as an impact sub, but I think he's got a lot more time on the ball, which benefits him. When he's starting games, teams are fresher, they get more of a press, and he doesn't have as, long in his mind and stuff like that to pick out what he wants to do. But being brutally honest, I think, I've sort of made myself clear on this, just before since December maybe. Højbjerg ain't going to be here next summer. He's already changed his agency to one out in Italy. That shows me that he's changed that for one big last move. He's reaching that end of his career. And Postecoglou ain't going to pick him. If he ain't going to be here next season, he ain't going to pick him. Postecoglou is thinking long term. So whether we like it or not, I think he's going to keep his faith in Bissouma. I think he will start Bissouma today in that regard. There's no point of him bringing in Højbjerg just, for a game, just for today's sake and stuff like that. He has to think longer term in that regard. And I absolutely love Højbjerg. Like I said, I don't think he's bad as people make him out to be and stuff like that. But if he ain't going to be here next season and his eyes aren't on winning trophies with Tottenham, Postecoglou will not pick him. When it comes to Bentancur, however, I do think he'll be here next season. I think, he's had a couple last week. I thought he was very good off the bench. And I think there was a performance not before that where he was brilliant off the bench as well. For me, I think he is the one change you might see actually come into this lineup today. Look, I absolutely love Papamat. Absolutely love him. I've been ride or die for him. Ever since I've seen him play under Conte, I've always saying get him into that midfield. However, his performances have dropped off slightly over the last few weeks in terms of he's given away possession, which I never see him do. He's not winning as much ball as he once was in the midfield and stuff like that. Is he becoming tired? A lot of games for the kid this season and stuff like that. So I think that's the one change I would make today. I think Bissouma will start regardless of what people think of that situation. I think Bentancur will come in. For me, I'd actually like to see Maddison drop. I'm surprised there's not more talk about his position in terms of heading into this game. All the media are talking about Højbjerg and Bentancur, which I get. But Maddison's completely getting away with it. For me, that guy's becoming an issue. Son maybe not getting as many sights of goal through the middle. Is that because Maddison ain't doing what he was doing earlier on this season and stuff like that? For me, I would actually like to have his place under threat. But
Who'd you play?
Jose, don't kill me here. I'm not having a go. But, Lo Celso, I don't think will be here next season.
Oh, forget him.
And Kulusevski, I don't think he'd done himself any favours off the bench last week. So I think he will roll Maddison out there again and try and play him into a bit of form. But for me, that's the position I would like to be on the track. I think he's been way off it. Anything you guys want to say on Maddison before we move into the forward area?
Yeah, I think you're. I kind of agree with you on that one, Dave. I think he's the one that's been off it more than the others. I mean, who knows why that is, though. But I mean, it'd be interesting to see a Bissouma, Sarr, Bentancur midfield. That who knows how that would work. But I think you're right. We were so dynamic at the beginning of the season because the way Maddison was linking up with Son, and that really hasn't been happening, has it?
No, it hasn't. And look, football and boxing, I think you might agree with this one, Phil. He says, drop Maddison, who's going to create? But I'd answer, who's creating right now? Because he ain't creating, right?
Well, who else is going to create other than him?
Yeah, but he's not
I can't-
creating. So we you know.
Form is temporary, class is permanent. I
Fair.
think at the end of the day, Maddison, it's only a 3-game, 4-game blip, in my opinion. I think it's only going to be a matter of time when you see his best form. So you have to keep him playing. You have to keep giving him match fitness, and the only way he's going to be into getting back into form is if you're playing week in, week out. If you keep him on the bench or not play him, it's only gonna be a negative for his form getting back into form.
I hear what you're saying, but for me, I want him to. He has to want himself to get on that ball and dictate games. For me, he's getting on the ball in front of the midfield. He needs to be getting on the ball in behind the midfield. Needs to maybe show a bit more sort of patience. Where's those again? A bit more patience or discipline, sort of in that regard, and look to get on the ball behind that midfield, create angles to receive it and stuff like that. I just don't think
he does need to do a lot better, though, Dave. I will give him that. He does need to do a lot better. He has gone off the boil, but I just believe that if you don't play him and you put him on the bench, I think that's just only going to be a negative on his performances. You have to keep playing him, and he's the only one who's going to create for us.
Well, yeah. Look, being brutally honest, as much as I'm dissatisfied with Maddison right now, I am of that opinion. You just got to keep playing him regardless, because I don't want to see Lo Celso in there, and Kulu ain't doing it right now. So you probably do have to stick with him. But hopefully, we can get someone in to come in here and compete with him. I think it'd be no harm bringing Donnelly on the bench and bringing him off the bench, around 70 or 80 minutes if Maddison still hasn't done anything. Guys, I do not know where Jose's gone, so if anyone knows, please make sure he's okay in that regard. I haven't got a message off him to say he was dipping out or anything like that, so not quite sure what's going on with Jose, but I'm sure he'll be back at some point. If not, we'll make sure to plug his channel at the end, because we are going to go for about another 10 minutes and then call it a day, because I know Paul needs to get off and get his watch-along set up after working all day, so I appreciate you giving up your time, my man.
Too easy, man.
Where are we at in my thing? Yeah, so we're on to Brennan Johnson. I think Jack has moved the Tyndall question, but I already got onto that earlier on, Jack. Don't worry about that. We had a discussion on it. But moving into the forward line, guys, Brennan Johnson has more assists, non-penalty goals combined than Martin Odegaard, James Maddison, Mohamed Kudus, Garnacho, and plenty of other well-rated players in the Premier League. He's on 5 goals and 7 assists now. Is he starting to cook? Is he starting to show signs of adapting, to Andrew's system as the season's gone on? I will go to you on that, Paul, and you can say before I rudely cut you off, you can say what you were going to say and then go on to that.
No, it was the Tyndall thing. I didn't know what that was on about anyway. I've never heard of him. So
about the assistant manager, it was the question about the assistant manager needing to do more in terms of,
okay, gotcha. Look, with Johnson, I think he's been kind of fine. Look, it takes, and it's not his age. Sometimes it takes players a while to get into a rhythm in a team. That just happens sometimes. We've been lucky that so many new players have got look like they've been playing for Spurs for 10 years, but that's rare. No, I think Johnson's great. He's got a good Tottenham scar on his forehead now. He's always first for a bit of biff. The other week when, what's his name, McGinn did that red card challenge a new doggy, Johnson was right in there, man. So he's got a bit about him. And I think he's really good at pressing. And I think he's doing a far better job on the right wing than Kulu is at the moment. He's getting up there, and the balls he's putting in are really good. When he started, it was a question of he was making the wrong decision. Should he shoot or should he put it across? And he was getting that wrong a lot of the time. And I think he's really getting that right now. So I think he's great. I'm all for him, man.
Do you know what? One thing I do like about him is his cheekiness. Some of the goal celebrations he's done this season, ripping the shit out of the opposition, I do like that. And look, as the season goes on, he is starting to get, grasp the system a bit more, maybe become a bit more confident. And look, maybe I was a little bit wrong on him. But I think we probably played him a lot more than
ideally we wanted to as well. He didn't have time to ease in. There was a lot of pressure on him, and no, I'm a bit of a Johnson fan actually. I think he's good.
He's still got a way to make me a fan, but he's growing on me. He's growing on me, is what I will say. I mean, Phil, where are you at with a lot of the noise around Johnson this season?
Yeah, I think we have to remember as well, when he's playing for Forest, their style of play is totally different to ours. So, players have to adjust to different styles of play. So I think the more game time he's going to get, the more, benefit he will be, will get on the field, with his performances. So I think he's got more promise than Werner has, to be honest with you, especially with his age. Werner's like 28, 29 now. So he's at the back end of his career. So I think Johnson's playing well at the minute, and I think his performances will be consistent the more he plays. I think he's got some good attributes. He just needs to work on his finishing really. His final ball into the box, his crosses are quite good. If we had an out and out goal scorer, like a target man we get in the summer, that would be beneficial. But yeah, I think he's doing well.
Interesting. I mean, guys, what would you make of Phil's comment here? Sort of, I agree with it to a certain extent. I think he is the same level of Dan James. That cracks me up. I mean, look, I think it's harsh, but it's hard to disagree with as well in that regard, But look, he says Johnson is just average. He isn't the quality to move the needle point. I mean, what do you guys think of that comment?
We're winning games, aren't we? So I think it's all fine at the moment. We lost 7 games this year. We lost 14 last year. We got the same number of points now that we had last year with 7 games to go. So I think it's all fine. I'm happy. I'm a happy clapper, Dave.
Yeah.
I got low standards.
You're not allowed to be. How dare you? You're not allowed. Me and Jack have to give you permission.
Sorry, man. Sorry. I got to go through some initiation, have I?
I'm only messing. No, we're not a cult like that. We're not a cult like that. We're open. Everyone can join us. Whoever wants to happy clap on the day can join us. Look, when it comes to Johnson, look, I do agree with the point. He's going to be the guy that's going to fire us, come to the fore and fire in 15 goals next season and stuff like that. I don't. But what I would say is if you bring in more competition, you'd probably get a lot more from that position in terms of having been able to rotate. One player's not on it, bring on the next guy, give him his opportunity and stuff like that. So, look, I think he'd be all right as a squad player heading into next season. But I do agree with Phil. I would like to see a bit more, like I've always stated this season, I'd like to see a bit more quality brought in there, a bit more je ne sais quoi sort of in there rather than just this direct stuff. You do need a different point of attack. So I do agree with Phil in that regard. But I think, look, the Dan James one, although it's hard to disagree with Phil, you're being harsh, man. You're being harsh. But guys, Kulusevski, of course, didn't help his cause following his late introduction last weekend. Would anyone make a case for him to come back into the lineup today?
Not for me.
Not really.
Well, your silence is arrogance.
He's in debate.
Look, for me, when it comes to Kulu, don't get me wrong, I think he's gone completely off the boil. I don't think he's helped. I think, look, people make the case Son's done off the left-hand side, Kulu's done off the right-hand side. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. I think you get a lot more out of the two of them if we had a striker at a very decent level up front. I think you'd see a lot more stats from Son off the left and Kulu off the right-hand side. I think they're both very intelligent footballers. They manipulate the ball well. I just don't think, they have that link-up guy in the middle to be able to play off like they did with Harry Kane. People forget Kane could take the ball, drop, get turned, play them in behind and stuff like that, So I don't think Kulu's finished in this team by any stretch of the imagination. Personally, when I look at Son against Forest, I think he improved against the low block team. But you can see he keeps dropping out. He wants to run at that low block. For me, go and put Kulu as a sacrificial pawn, get him to be the hold-up guy and stuff like that, and get Sonny running at that low block. I do think that would be ideal. However, I don't think that's going to happen today. I'll be very surprised if Kulu comes in. So in that regard, he probably won't play. But Everyone's writing him off and saying he's finished. He's definitely not finished. I can tell you that now. Jose, my man, I don't know what happened there. You're like Casper. You just disappeared, my man. But look,
Internet's gone down completely. It's completely smashed. So I've gone onto my normal. I'm on my phone now.
You still be able to watch the game?
Yeah, I've got Sky. I'm fine. I've got a TNT.
Oh, that's all right. So that's all right. You're not like me over here when my TV runs off the internet. So you're all right in that regard. But
Yeah.
would you make a case for Kulu to come in anywhere in that midfield, the front line today, Jose?
No, not today. I think it's doing him well because he'd gone off the ball a bit. I think it's doing him well coming off the subs bench. He's going to want to fight for his place. But I feel that the other two at the moment in the wider positions have got a bit more about them and building up a bit of steam at the moment, which is not beneficial to Kulu. I heard what you were saying earlier about Maddison, and yeah, you're quite right. I think a lot of people are calling out Maddison, but maybe not enough people. But to me, you bought him for a reason. You want to see him what he's got to do. But if he can't do it, then you probably put Kulu there as well. You could probably play Kulu there as well. But I think Kulu has to play himself back into form again. At the end of the day, we don't know what's happening on the training pitch. Postecoglou, because to me, if I hark back to Basuma, during the international break, Basuma didn't get called up by Mali. Basuma had a terrible game before the international break. We all thought Basuma weren't going to start the game after the international break. He'd obviously spent 2 weeks at the Tottenham Hotspur away with the coaching staff, training for 2 weeks with the team, and lo and behold, he started. So Ange and the manager and the coaching team must have saw something in Biss. They may see something in Kulu in training, and then he'd be brought back into the team. But at the moment, me personally, I think there's a couple of players that are playing better than him at the moment.
No, look, I definitely agree with that. I'd agree with that. But look, guys, we are going to go around, let the guys plug their channels, so make sure you stay tuned for where you can find these great guys. Get over and smash that subscribe button. Absolute legends. You know what, guys? I've really enjoyed this show today, so thank you very much for giving up your time. I know it's not easy for you two guys on the bottom like myself, getting up early and being on camera. And, you know, it's not easy for Paul coming home after a long day at work and also, you know, getting back on and doing this. So I really do appreciate all your times, guys, and the generosity. Eltel, Jose, what's your score prediction? What's going on the channel?
For score prediction, sorry, I couldn't get mine in this week because I was so busy working, so I couldn't get one into you. But listen, Dave, I'm like you. I love my clean sheet, right? I'm like you. I love a clean sheet. So for me, I think we'll win by 2 goals. Now, it's head over heart. For my clean sheet, I would have said 2-0. But seeing we always bloody concede, I have to say 3-1.
Do you know what? I've had to do the same lately, and it's absolutely killing me. I do love the clean sheets. My missus may not, but I do, you know, in that regard. So, you know, look, Newcastle will score a goal today. I have a feeling, you know, they do score goals, so it'll be interesting. But 3-1. But guys, please do get over, check out Jose's channel, El Cockerel. The link is here. I've done all the work for you. All you got to do is click on it, click that subscribe button.
Yeah, I think I'm on 347 subscribers, so I need at least 3 to get me to 350.
It's only like 2 weeks ago you were on 300. You're moving along nicely. Guys, get over and smash the subscribe button on Jose's channel. Absolute legend. And then we'll go on to Hotspur Hippie, my man. What's your score prediction and where can people find you, lad?
They can find me at Hotspur Hippie, the only psychedelic soccer show on the internet. And look, I was going to have a prediction, but I feel bad now because seeing as you and Jose like clean sheets so much. So I think it's going to be revenge for last year. So I was going to go 6-1, but I have to go 6-0 now, don't I? So 6-0 Spurs. Why not?
There was me thinking, you know, we wouldn't get a Dermot-like prediction, but Hotspur Hippie, you know, I think the coke's gone to his head there, and I mean the coke from McDonald's, by the way, guys.
Delusional.
I like it. I like the prediction, Paul. I like the prediction.
But no, honestly, it's been great to have you back on here as well, Paul. It's
been fun being on, man.
It's been too long since we've been on camera together, so I really did enjoy having you back. People, please get over there. Make sure you do smash that subscribe button on Paul's channel. He's doing an absolute brilliant job with his channel there and stuff like that, constantly growing. Biggest channel in Australia as well in terms of Spurs. So make sure you get over there and smash that subscribe button on the big man's channel. And also my dad is happy to see you back here as well.
Thanks, man.
Which is good to see. He's gone
You're
with
too harsh. He's too harsh on Vicario, though. Back off, man. He's like Angie's dad. He's just never happy, you know. You win 2-0, he says, well, you could have won 3-0.
But you know what? That high level of, you know, to please, it produces great people. I mean, look at myself, what I would say is maybe me and Ange have more in common than what we think. I need to take him out to Starbucks or something like that, although he's probably more of a point man. But my dad also says Kulu is a good player, but he's not going to press and run around for 90-plus minutes. That's also a fair observation there as well, to be fair. And also big up Paul Connor. Good to see you in the building. But last but not least, and Phil, it's also great to have you back on, my man, again. It's been way too long. Look, that's probably my fault. You know, I haven't organized enough shows during the week and all that sort of stuff to have good conversations and get you guys on more. But I really do appreciate your time, Phil. And what's your score prediction, my man?
Thanks for having us on, Dave. It's great to be on the panel with Paul and Jose as well. It's good to be back on. But my prediction today, I'd love to go for a 6-0 like Paul. I love his optimism, man. I do love it. I'd love nothing more than to give Newcastle a drubbing today for what they give us last season. But I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that. So I think it's going to be a 3-2 to us. I think they're going to score early in that first half. I think it's going to be a bit of the same. And I think in the second half we're going to get the better of them. I think we're going to get a last grasp winner by Sonny.
Still 3 points, man.
The lineups have just been announced, people.
Yeah, I'm going to bring them up here now quickly just before we end off. We've got, of course, everyone can see this, yes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect.
Ooh.
So, of course, big goals. There's Vic celebrating for my old lad. Pedro Porro at right back. Romero van der Ven at centre back with a Doge at left back. Bentancur, Basuma, and Madison come into the midfield tree. Be interesting between Bentancur and Madison, who sits, who goes. And then you also have Johnson, Son, and Werner in your front line with a bench of Austin, Dragosin, Royale, Davies, Højbjerg, Sarr, Lo Celso, Brian Gill, Messi returns to the bench, and also the one and only Dejan Kulusevski. So that is the lineup there, guys. But look, that's it from us here. We do all have to get ourselves set up for the big game. Me, just quickly, I'm going to go 4-3 today. I would love revenge. I would love a 6-1, 7-1. But I do think Newcastle will score goals, but I think we'll score more. We're going to storm the castle. Thank you to all you guys out there. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in this morning. Over 400 people continuously, so early in the morning. Really appreciate that. And we'll see you all back here for the watch-along starting in 28 minutes time. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. In the mighty hands we trust. We never stop. Let's go.
Thank
See you, man. Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you.
Come on.